Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Wei Liu. The study I represent today is part of my research project. So the research is mainly about critical thinking in mathematics education in China. So critical thinking is a vital skill that promotes students' learning, enhance their creativity to solve problems, encourage them to seek new strategies, and developing their skills to higher levels. So critical thinking has been regarded as a necessary and important education outcome. It's a very significant vital task in 21st century. So also, critical thinking has become an essential qualification that is demanded by employers. So help students to develop critical thinking is really important for their futures. Critical thinking means making reasoned judgment that are logical and well thought out. For example, when students are solving mathematical problems, so students are analyzing, evaluating, interpreting, and synthesizing information. Critical thinking is a way of thinking in which students do not only accept all solutions they are exposed to, but they should have an attitude in curiosity and questioning. So knowledge-based discussion can be more effective in developing students' critical thinkings. As during the discussion, students need the ability to clarify their ideas logically. They need the ability to analyze and evaluate information about the questions they were discussed. So thinking is a natural process, but without guidance, it can often be biased or uninformed. So that means the students cannot develop critical thinking skills by themselves. They need teachers' support and guidance. Teachers' perceptions or opinions on critical thinking affect students' development of their critical thinking skill abilities. So for example, if teachers who perceive the students can develop critical thinking skills, they will demonstrate to students there are more often than one solution to problems. They will encourage students developing and applying critical thinking through their education. So therefore, teachers' perceptions or opinions on critical thinking affect the students' development of their critical thinking abilities. So as critical thinking is a Western term, so how critical thinking is perceived in Chinese education is unexplored. So for this study, there are two research questions. One, how do gender and teaching experience influence teachers' definition of critical thinking? So two, what are Chinese mathematics teachers' perceptions of their students' critical thinking? So the aim of the study is examine critical thinking defined by teachers in China, with the purpose to investigating how teachers' gender, teaching experience, and their perceptions of critical thinking skills affect their teaching. This is also expected to provide insight on how critical thinking defined differently across different cultures. Okay, so this study, the research method is use the quantitative and qualitative together. So for the quantitative part, so we use the survey to obtain a representation of Chinese teachers' perceptions of critical thinking. So a further exploration of the relationship between teachers' genders, teaching experience, and their understanding of critical thinking were included. For qualitative method part, is obtained to answers that provide further information surrounding Chinese mathematics teachers. What do they perceive of critical thinking? So through in-depth interviews, gives teachers open-ended questions. So the teacher were given the opportunity to express their thoughts in specific details. So to ensure the validity and reliabilities of the survey, a pilot study was conducted in order to decide whether the study was feasible and was well. So the participants of this study were Chinese secondary school mathematics teachers. Through invitation emails and snowballing, the participants were recruited. So in total, there are 98 secondary mathematics teachers who responded to the survey. But because some participants did not complete all the questions, so that's why the data of 52 participants were used for the final draft. For the final data analysis, including 35 females and 16 males. So data analysis, so gender and teaching experience were taken as two variables. So because with thinking about there is a need for participants to define different dimensions of critical thinking, depending on their own cultural background and belief systems. So another variable is teaching experience, because the more teaching experience a teacher has, the greater the possibility they have of generalizing and describing of thinking skills, as well as addressing them in mathematics teaching and learning. So univariate analysis was applied to the analysis of one variable at a time. Distribution of values were analyzed with SPSS. Pearson's R was applied when examining relationships between interval variables. So the results and the discussion of the study for research question 1, there was no significant difference between males and females in their answer to the definition of critical thinking in China. So the findings were consistent with the other research experiment, but were not in line with the findings of another research about Islamic teachers. So then we think culture might be a factor influence the results. There is a significant difference between teaching experience and their answers to drawing a conclusion and deductives. The teachers who had fewer years teaching experience do not have many strategies in their teaching methods that can incorporate critical thinking. So for research question 2, teachers valued understanding logical connections between ideas, evaluate judgment based on evidence and assumptions were valued highest in the research. So over half of the teachers agreed that students need to apply clearly communicating the similarities and difference more often. So the result revealed that Chinese teachers favored analyze, which was in line with the results in other responses to the research questions. So conclusion of the study. So this study found that gender and teaching experience were not significant variable in influencing a teacher's perceptions of critical thinking, but teachers who have less teaching experience have a lack of confidence and strategies in teaching critical thinking. In terms of students' critical thinking levels, teachers agreed that students need more opportunity to articulate their ideas. Chinese education culture may influence teachers' behavior in supporting students' learning and development of critical thinking skills, such as teacher-centered lectures or activities. For future research, there are a few parts needed to further explore. So the gap between mathematics teachers' perceptions of critical thinking within China and Western countries, explore Chinese mathematics teachers' knowledge of critical thinking and how they teach critical thinking skills in mathematics class. Obstacles within critical thinking in China and how to implement critical thinking across the curriculum. My another paper exploring Chinese secondary teachers' perception of critical thinking in mathematics teaching will be published soon. If you are interested in my research area, you can search my name online. Thank you for watching. Bye.